stations, someone using sophisticated equipment managed to briefly and illegally override broadcast signals on WGN-TV and WTTW.
Starting first on WGN-TV at 9:14 Sunday night during a sportscast.
12 quarters finally did.
The night of 1987, residents of Chicago, Illinois would be watching TV, sitting back and relaxing while watching the sports segments of WGN TV's The 9 O'Clock News, until suddenly the home viewer's screen went black for 15 seconds. Then before the viewers, a person wearing a Max Headroom mask and sunglasses displayed before them. The background displayed a corrugated piece of metal being rotated to mimic the real Max Headroom's geometric background effect, accompanied by a staticky and buzzing sound. The entire excursion lasted for about 28 seconds. Upon returning to the airwaves, WGN sports anchor Dan Rowan had this to say.
Well, if you're wondering what's happened, so am I. Actually, the computer that we have running our news from time to time took off and went wild.
For people who don't know who Max Headroom was, he was supposedly the first computer-generated TV presenter.
This is Max Headroom. Max Headroom.
Max was advertised as computer generated, and some believe this to be true, but this wasn't actually the case, however. But he was actually actor Fuhrer, wearing prosthetic makeup and contact lenses while wearing a plastic modeled suit and sitting back in front of a blue screen. Harsh lighting and other editing and recording effects were used to heighten the illusion of a CGI character. Most people thought after the interruption this would be the last time they would come across this incident, but they were wrong. A few hours after their interruption, around 12 o'clock p.m., the signal of local PBS station WTTW in Chicago was interrupted during an airing of Doctor Who. The culprit was the same Max Headroom figure, this time speaking with distorted audio. The masked figure made a comment about nerds, calling WGN sportscaster Chuck Screwy a freaking liberal. The intruder held up a Pepsi can while saying "catch the wave." At this time, Max Headroom has been going on an ad campaign with Coca-Cola.
Again, and again. Coke's delightful. The second. Catchy, isn't it? Catch the wave. Coke.
The figure then ran through a series of quick comments and song snippets with excited noises and exclamations. Max sang the phrase, "Your love is fading." It hummed part of the theme song to the 1959 animated series Clutch Cargo.
In another exciting adventure, Pirate Isle.
Engineers at WTTW's studio could not counteract the signal takeover because none were present at Sears Tower.
The FCC says the pirates were able to use stronger microwave signals to override the television signals which are transmitted from the Hancock and Sears towers.
Unfortunately, no suspect has ever been caught. It's been over 35 years and no traces of the Max Headroom figure was ever found. An investigation by the FBI and FCC to try to find the case came to the conclusion that the cost of the stunt would be estimated to be $25,000 and had to be by someone very good at broadcasting to execute this hijack. If caught, they would have to spend 1 year in jail or pay a fine of $100,000. The investigation came to a close because none were able to solve it. Many theories came up after after the investigation ended. The first theory was that of a musician who played the role of Max Headroom called Eric Foreigner. The evidence used to compare was the aesthetic similarities between the Max Headroom incident and an internet series called Chez St. John, which was created by Eric Foreigner. This couldn't be the case though, because in the broadcast it had an obvious cut in the video, meaning that this performance wasn't live. Also, bandmates of Eric said they never went to Chicago while this happened. Multiple Reddit posts discussed many suspects, but one came to light. Demonstrated in the video from Wang, the post from Debog tells the story about two brothers, J and K. I'll spare you the long story, but basically J and K were two brothers who were closely connected to the hacking scene during the 80s and 90s. The OP of the post met up with these two at an apartment complex because they had a deep connection with hacking. OP got to know the brothers. He states, practically every square inch with the exception of one corner packed with systems working and some apparently non-working. This was huge evidence because this strengthened the idea of them being interested in hacking. It also shows how both brothers committed themselves into learning about operating systems. After, the OP makes connections to the type of humor used in the incident. The OP writes, Jay, despite having fairly severe autism and coming across as basically crazy, was actually kind of funny. His sense of humor was sort of disturbing, sort of sexually deviant in nature. During the Max Headroom video, it features a woman swatting the ass of the culprit with a fly swatter, which is now understandable with the OP's background info.
As far as I can tell, a massive electric shock and died instantly.
More information could be found in Wang's original video. If the information gained is true, that would mean J and K are most likely the suspects. Unlike most intrusions, this one was never caught, with all people saying they know who did the incident makes this case harder to solve. This case will live in obscurity forever. We cannot determine the truth of the situation, so if any of you have input about this situation, please post it in the comments. Thanks, and until we meet again.